Hello everyone in internet land. Sylph Dominic Hawkins here, coming to you live on Wednesday night, the 23rd of September for our Hoshinden meditation and breathwork session. Now this, I have to double check my session number. We are getting up there. As I looked that up, this is session number, wait for it, the suspense is killing me, 23. Holy crumbs. Wow. Oh my God, there's so many hours of that. So session number 23 tonight on the 23rd of September. Gee, I didn't plan that. That's just the way the cookie crumbled. You'll notice tonight I'm in a slightly different location. I'm in my studio. Have some fun at my house. I'm really looking forward to when, hopefully in the next couple of weeks, I can get back to be doing the videos and the recordings from the dojo, and then ultimately that we could move towards classes, but I will keep you updated as we go. So tonight's session, I'm just going to keep it pretty short, sharp, and straight to the point with our breathwork experiences and activities. So feel free to jump in and join me. Those of you who are on the Zoom chat now currently, if you would like to hang around after the recording, after the actual session, we can have a little bit of a catch up, a social hangout, which would be great. Otherwise, I will finish the recording of this just before 9 o'clock. All right, so if you're at home, you're attending from the future, who knows? We're going to start off, it doesn't matter where you are, we're going to start off just breathing in and out, eyes open or closed. And as you breathe in and out, just to take a moment to listen to the sounds that you can hear. As you breathe in through the nose, down into the belly. Now we move to the experience of smell. As you take a deep breath in through your nose, down into your belly. Out through the mouth. What can you smell? As you just kind of pose your curiosity on smell. If I told you I want you to smell for something, but I don't actually tell you what would that feel like? Your sense of curiosity would smell if I told you I wanted you to smell for something, but I don't give you any clue as to what. You'd have to take in all the information available. What can you smell? It's subtle, but there might be very fine aromas or fragrances in the air. And now as we move our focus onto the experience of taste and the taste sensation, what can you taste? In the air, in your mouth, all together, what can you taste? One more breath, in through the nose, down into the belly. What can you taste? And relaxing, focus on taste. Let's move to the sensation of sight, visual sensation. So if you had a wall or something in front of you, just staring into oblivion, not interested in the details of what's in front of you, but as you imagine you're peering through the objects, your entire peripheral vision comes into play. What can you see? What happens on a subtle level to the division of the perspective of sight? A couple of breaths, breathing in and out. Suddenly experiences of different luminance and that luminosity have become apparent to me. Slightly different brightnesses of a whole bunch of different areas of the wall that I'm kind of peering through, and where the light is reflecting, and there's a window and the iPad glow. This is really interesting. What can you see? All right, and now moving on to the experience, the tactile sense. So the sense of pressure, feeling pressure. As you breathe in and out, take your attention to an area of the body, so in the physical experience, that you can feel its relationship with the ground. So tonight, I'm seated in a chair, high off the ground, and I can feel the aspects of my body that are directly in relationship with the hardness of the chair, timber of the chair. And then through that, to the ground, I can feel the legs of the chair and their pressure. As I breathe in and out, I'm just watching the feeling sensation in my body at those places. Final breath in through the nose, down into the belly. And just relaxing there. So you notice that tonight I didn't take the time to run into individually the 3 different stages or steps with each of them, listening to the sounds far away, listening to the sounds close, listening to the sound at the point of hearing, at the eardrum, tasting out there, tasting in the mouth, tasting the tongue, etc. Excellent activities to do. I'm just not going to do them tonight. I'm going to move on from that particular series of activities for us at the moment. And tonight, I'm going to go way off on a limb, just out of left center. And I'm going to walk through a guided visualization. So I've made a lot of commentary in the previous recordings about my opinions of the difference between meditation and visualization, and that meditation itself inherently isn't a practice of visualization, and that the two, I consider, have the goals of the two are the antitheses of each other. That the goals, the overarching interest in meditation is an orientation of self, an orientation of identification or of knowing and of knowledge. And it's oriented to, in our context, the experience of the happenings around us. Visualization is also an orientation to something. So it's a desire to, and a practice to orient thinking and the experience of the self, the feedback experiences, to an imagined experience, to something other than here. And there isn't a right one or a wrong one, but they are distinct and they are not the same. So tonight, we've done a lot of work over the last 22 hours of the series, the seasons in meditation energy work videos around meditation. And tonight, just for a bit of fun, because I like to throw these curveballs to you sometimes, we're going to do a visualization, do a guided visualization, and just explore the two. It's just another method. It has different outcomes though. So, closing your eyes and just breathing in, down, in through your nose, down into your belly. And out through the mouth. Just going to start by allowing yourself, with your eyes closed, to peer into the shapes and the geometry and the pictures that are presented on the inside of your eyelid. What can you see on the inside of your eyelids? As you breathe in and out, in through your nose, down into your belly. And as you're just breathing in and out, through your nose and down into your belly, so that it stretches muscles around your ribs. Muscles around your kidneys stretch. Your ribs open, and the depth of your lung, like you're breathing into the very bottom of your lungs. Stirring up any dust at the base. As you're breathing, I want you to follow the adventure of shape on the inside of your eyelids. As it takes you somewhere, maybe it merges into a different idea, or it comes together in a pattern that you recognize. Maybe a projection of a memory, or some symbol, or just something abstract. You can see it burned into the projection of the back of the eyelids. And as you're just breathing heavy in through the nose, down into the belly, and out through the mouth, you start to imagine yourself at the very bottom of a mountain, looking up to the summit. You're at the absolute base level. And this mountain is enormous, huge mountain, insurpassable. And you look up and you peer to the very crest, the very summit of this mountain. And perhaps you see on it snow and clouds and fog. It's so high up, it reaches up into the heavens. And as you breathe in and out, you can feel, without looking, you can feel what the ground is like underneath your feet. And you can feel the texture of the ground and what makes up the mountain. As you're breathing these big, long, heavy breaths, full breaths, you can taste the temperature of the surrounding air and the season that it is for you. This season is fun. This is an enjoyable season. And as you look around, you can see others, friends of yours, colleagues, people that you know who have come with their backpacks on, ready to climb the same mountain as you. And you just note how you feel about being on this adventure with these people, who these people are, your relationships with them, your sense of connection with them, whether you feel that they are close people, allies of yours, close friends and members of your inner circles. Or if they're here, some of them might be here to climb the same mountain, but you've never met. Who knows who they are? Maybe you'll become friends on the way, or maybe not. As you take these long striding breaths, and you look back up at the summit of the mountain, it's clear to you how you could begin your journey. There's a portion of the ground in front of you that clearly marks an opening for the beginning of this adventure. I want you to take your backpack filled with all the things that you think you will need for your adventure. Let's start going for a walk. Your goal is the top of the mountain. So off you trek, followed around you, in front and behind, by the other people who gathered at the foot of the mountain. Now you've been walking for many hours, and you are quite a way up the foothills, starting to discover that the ground and the mountain become very steep. The angle becomes steeper, the work on your thighs and your legs, your muscles begin to be feeling the trek more than they have for the previous few hours. And as you make this adventure and this trek, you see many of the colleagues racing ahead. More athletic, perhaps, more stamina. They ate a bigger breakfast that day and they're further along the path, up the mountain. But just before you arrive at the point where the angle steepens quite substantially, I want you to stop and just turn around and just take a moment to take in a deep breath and marvel at the view. How far can you see already? How broad is your perspective already, even from the short little way that you walked? You might be only a portion of the way up the mountain, but already the view is beautiful, breathtaking. And you can see way down. And there are some other new adventurers gathering at the base of the mountain. And you can see them. They're like tiny ants. And you can just make out that they have their backpacks on. And they're talking among each other, deciding how best to start their trip. And you breathe in and you just note how far you have come. If you were to finish your adventure here and wander back down the mountain, you would forever have this view and this perspective to remember. But today, of all days, you're feeling fit. You're feeling strong and able. And so I want you to gather up your backpack things and turn back to face the mountain again and continue engaging the next steep angle of the ascent as you work your way up. A little bit more scrambling now and less just walking. A little bit more climbing interspersed. You feel the warmth and the burning in your muscles and your thighs, in your arms, in your buttocks, in your core, in your abs. And the weight of the backpack is starting to make itself known to your shoulders and through your back and your hips. And as you're walking, you notice that there are some people coming back down. And they pass you. They wave, they smile, they give you a quick summary word of encouragement. And you ask them, what's it like up at the top? And they tell you, regale you in their stories. Tell you how incredible the view is. And they use words to create pictures and metaphors and analogies of what they were feeling. But they encourage you to continue making your way to the top of the mountain, because all they can give you are words. They can't give you the view at the top of the mountain. They can't give you the experience of satisfaction. Reading about other people's adventures and dreams is a veneer of achieving our own. And so you saddle up the backpack and adjust the straps and fix up what you need to make the next part of the journey less difficult. And you continue on up the mountain with some climbing and some scrabbling and some walking. And as you continue on, you notice that the temperature is drastically changing in the air around you. It's time to take a pause. It's been another 2 hours since you last looked at the view. And so you stop somewhere on a little ledge and just take a moment to turn around and take in the breathtaking view and how it feels in your heart. And the way that the view in your visual sense mixes with what you can smell and the crispness of the air. And the warmth of your body. Perhaps it's time to have a drink. And you can taste the refreshing sensation of the water in your mouth and down your throat. And you find yourself hungry now, reaching into your backpack to find some food that you brought with you. Some of your favorite food, foods that you enjoy. And as you sit on the ledge and you eat this food, the tastes are more vivid than they've ever been. This food is no longer just the snack you made. There's something alive in this. And as you look out over the view, you are so high, unimaginably high. You look down and you can make out the tiny ant-like people who are sitting on the first outcrop, having their water and their food, looking out at the view. And you can see what they're looking at. You can see the perspective that they have. And you think to yourself, oh, but just wait until you get up here. Look at this. It's not what I can see, it's how I can understand where I am and everything around me. I can see a top across to the tops of snow-capped mountains surrounding my vantage point. And when I look down, I can barely even see the base of the mountain. It's too foggy. I'd have no hope of actually seeing any of the people. There wouldn't even be ants at the base of the mountain. And I get up and I pack my bag again up on my shoulders. And I think to myself, I could go back down now. And as I pass people on the way up, I could tell them some of the incredible stories and the amazing things that they'll see when they get here. And I could go home and I could be very satisfied with the view that I saw and the beauty and how the food tasted different from this vantage point. Everything seemed so crisp and so alive. But I wonder what the next leg will feel like. And so I turn and I face the mountain again, this time very steep, very difficult. And I notice as I go up, I start scrambling over rocks. There is one more person who comes down the mountain. And I ask them, what was it like up the top? And they tell me, I don't have words. I can't say what it feels like. But I'm so glad that I went. And I'm so glad I took the time to see it for myself. And you're a little bit shocked. You ask this person, is there anyone else up on the summit at the moment? They say, no. I'm the only one. I had friends and colleagues. They got to where you are now, but they decided it was a bit too hard. And they headed back down. They were happy with what they saw at that point. And I continued, and only now am I ready to come back down the mountain. They bid you good luck. They inform you of a very loose rock, something to just watch out for, another few hours ahead. They just sort of warn you vaguely the location of this rock and just point it out to you so that you're not thrown about. when you find that there's a rock ledge that isn't as stable as you were expecting. They hope that that information will be enough to keep you on the sure path of achieving your dreams. And you continue up, hand and foot, up the mountain. Well, the next few hours pass and you find yourself just before the pinnacle, mere meters away from the summit. Heavy breath and cold wind biting. The air is thick and dense. It feels like a great laboring effort just to take in breath. And you're sore. Your whole body is aching and your arms are sore. And your thighs are shaking and wobbling, jiggling under the lack of sugars and food, too much strain. And you take that deep breath and you gather up yourself and you pull yourself up another couple of meters to the very summit, the absolute peak of your mountain adventure. And you breathe in a long breath of cold air, crisp in the freshness of the mountaintop. As you feel the atmosphere, and you peer out into infinity. The fog is so thick, you can't see the bottom of the mountain. You're so above the clouds that you can't see where you stopped for your first perspective. You can't even see where you stopped just a few hours before for your meal. And yet you look out over the tops of billowing white clouds. And the beautiful sun, crisp and clear in the blue sky. And as you breathe, things are happening inside you, inside your heart, inside your mind. And you just stand there breathing for as long as it takes. And at some point, maybe many hours later, you find yourself just walking slowly, somewhat with wisdom, back down the mountain path. And you pass an individual who stopped eating their lunch, staring out over the view. And you're just breathing and walking, listening and smelling and tasting and enjoying and feeling. And you smile and you give them a wave. And then they ask you, oh, did you make it all the way up to the summit? What did you see? What was it like? Tell me about it. And you take a deep breath and you say, I can't tell you in words what I saw. But I encourage you to go. Follow the path up the mountain. breathe in the experience for yourself. Oh, but there's some loose rocks a couple of hours up. Very important when you get there. You'll notice it because there's a particular pattern. And if you're watching out, just remember, go slowly at that point. This person thanks you and you continue wandering down the mountain. And you glance over your shoulder and you notice that they've continued up, their backpack on their back, on hands and feet, crawling and climbing up the mountain face. You continue your adventure down the mountain until you arrive at the foothill in the base. And you look back one last time over your shoulder and you turn around to stare up at the peak summit of the mountain. And you know now, with a newfound experience, forever changed as an individual because of the journey. And you hope that when that other climber begins their descent down the mountain, that they encourage the other people to keep going. They inspire them not to be satisfied with the writings and the works and the words of other people's experiences, but to climb to the top of the mountain and look out over the cloud top and feel and have that experience for themselves. As you turn and you begin the final part of that adventure, maybe back to your car or back towards your home. As we breathe in through our nose, down into our belly. And out through our mouth. Just listen to the sounds that we can hear. What can we smell? What can we taste? What can we feel? What can we see? As we breathe deeply in through the nose and out through the mouth. And just come back to your awareness of the room you're in, and the time, and the date, and your name, and what clothing you're wearing, and what your favorite color is, and all these different things that orient you in this current experience. And so what we can find in visualization is an opportunity to really engage all of the senses. And even though I was the one acting as the storyteller, I could feel the vividness of the cold mountain air as my arms shivered, just in the retelling of the story, in my imagination, my visualization. Such is the immense power of human imagination and visualization. And so we'll leave it there. I'll wrap it up tonight. I hope that was fun and enjoyable. Something a bit out of left center for you, for those of you who've been following the rest of this series of videos. Felt like tonight it would be nice to just show ourselves how enjoyable experience of these things can be. Whether it's a great book that we're reading, that we get lost in our imagination, or a movie that we've forgotten the boundary edge of the screen, or perhaps even a story that a friend is telling us over lunch and we're just absolutely fixated. We've become entranced in the story. If we can make our own life experience like that, just through visualization and imagination, let's keep in mind how important it is that we just spend some time imagining things that are going to be of benefit to us. If the things that we are imagining help to orient us to those experiences, you can imagine getting lost down a rabbit hole of constant criticism or constant worst case scenario, always. And then you watch as that contorts the body and putrefies the senses. And what are you orienting yourself to? It has to be something. The human orients itself in reference. So it's either imagined or observed happening. Just make sure that whatever it is, it's helping you head in the directions you want to go. And if there are things in your life that are difficult, become your own storyteller. Write in your journals about the stories of your successes in those things. Write the stories as if you're the narrator of what it was like when you achieved all those things, what it was like when you overcame those obstacles, what it was like when, even though you couldn't understand how, somehow, somewhen, these were the new paradigms that you were experiencing and living in. And write and smell and taste and touch and see and feel that experientially. And you'll find that you orient your thinking towards that. It will become more and more natural that those are the ways that you would look to perceive things. And certain experiences or events that you normally would have just glanced over suddenly just appear to be opportunities without you necessarily magically making a big jump from where you are to where you wish to be. So I'll leave you with that. Hope you have an awesome evening. And remember, if you're currently in the Zoom chat for tonight and you'd like to stay on, we can stay on after I finish recording. We can have a little social catch up. Otherwise, for those at home, have a lovely evening. This will be the last of the Zoom chats. I'm going to be going back to the Facebook Live format after this. So they'll still be on the Facebook page and the YouTube page, but I won't be waving to people throughout or nodding towards them or chatting to them afterwards in the session. Have an excellent couple of days, and I might see you on Friday for the next session. next philosophy session. Good night.